Alors, bonsoir tout le monde, j'espère que vous allez bien. Alors, on a entendu ce soir à la télévision qu'il y a eu 77 morts encore, ce qui n'est pas bien. En plus, il y a eu plus de 700 nouveaux cas, je pense. Alors, vraiment, c'est une situation qui est toujours très, je dirais, sérieuse, dangereuse. Alors, il faut absolument qu'il y ait une solution. Il faut qu'on trouve une solution, mais pour l'instant, on est tous un petit peu dans le noir. Il faut attendre, c'est tout. So, still really bad situation with COVID-19, with the number of cases today. So, it's really, really bad. Et il faut qu'on essaie de rester soudés, de rester à la maison, de se laver les mains, de suivre toujours les consignes données par le gouvernement. Tout ça, et ça va rentrer dans l'ordre. Hein. Vous allez voir que ça va marcher. Ça marche déjà. So it is working. It will work. There will be a solution to all of this. Mais pour l'instant, il faut absolument qu'on fasse attention à ce qu'on fait tous les jours. So we must pay attention to what we do every day. Now, if you notice there, I'm using il faut que, and that's subjunctive, which is very much leaving cert, and I will be doing it with you over the next couple of weeks. Now, really important for this evening, I'm going to be looking at the imparfait or the imperfect tense, okay? And the imparfait is used quite a lot in French. You would use it at junior cert level, for example. You might read it, okay? You might hear it on the audio. And if you're writing a letter or a blog or a postcard or something like that, it may come up that you might say j'étais, as in J'-E-X-O-Q-T-A-I-S, I was, or j'avais, when I did something, j'avais 10 ans, I was 10, because remember they use avoir with age, which is really important, okay? So the imperfect tense, okay, what are the main issues with the imperfect tense? The main issue with the imperfect tense is that students get confused about when they use it, okay? That's the first thing. So confusion about when it's being used. So that's really important for us to know kind of when we should use it, okay? The second thing, forming the imperfect tense is really, really easy, okay? It's a really, really easy tense to form. And I have great news as regards irregular verbs. There's only one. And of course, it's our old friend, être again. He's the only irregular verb, okay? So let me just go straight into first. I'll tell you how to form it. And then once we get an idea of how we form it, I'll tell you when you use it, okay? So we'll start with that, okay? The first thing you need to do is you need to get your verb in the infinitive, right? Remember what I said about the infinitive is the verb before you do anything with it, okay? So parler, marcher, manger, right? Boire, all those, right? And then what you need to do is you get the new form, the nous form of the verb, okay? So, for example, nous parlons, nous buvons, nous marchons, nous mangeons, nous travaillons, nous apprenons, all those, right? So you have to get your present tense in the new form, okay? And then all you do is very, very simple. You knock off your ONS and you add your endings. I'm going to show you what I've done here. And I'm going to kind of do it a little bit, well, not necessarily backwards, but I just want to show you the step first. And for some reason, the step, the way I've done it, is kind of topsy-turvy, right? So look, there's my verb to speak. Parler, to speak. I go to the new form, which is the ONS form. I knock off the ONS, right? And that will give you obviously PARL. And I add my imperfect endings. Now, I'm going to give you those imperfect endings. They're really, really easy, okay? And here they are. If it's a je, as I, it's AIS. Tu, you, AIS. Il is AIT, elle, AIT. On would be used for like general sentences. For example, on dînait toujours à 9h. We used to eat always at 9 o'clock. It's kind of the we form that we've kind of transformed it into the we form. Years and years ago, they used to say one. One used to do such and such thing, but we don't really speak like that anymore. Okay, so the new then goes to IONS, the vous, IEZ, and the il and the L, A-I-E-N-T. Now, to be honest with you, you can get the endings of any of your imperfect tenses in your school books, right? It's in your school books, you will find all this, right? But I find a lot of the time it's in your school books, right? But that's all theory, and you're writing all that down and you're learning off rules. But do you know what? Practical. The way to go is to understand when you use it, okay? So now we've learned the mechanics of how we put it together, okay? So remember, we'll do it really quickly. We take our full verb parler, we go to the new form, right? You see the new form there? And we go to the ONS form. We knock off the ONS, right? Which leaves us with PARL. And then we add our endings. And our endings would be like, you see that? Je parlais. I've taken the je ending. Je parlais, tu parlais, il parlait, elle parlait, on parlait, nous parlions, vous parliez, il parlait, elle parlait. Right. Okay. So did you see that? Now it's really important that you know when you use it. Okay. So it's used in a couple of different ways, right? The first thing for the imperfect, it is used to talk about something that you used to do. It might be a past habit. So for example, let's say I used to play tennis, right? So I used to play tennis. The idea is I don't play it anymore, right? So what you'd have there is je jouais au tennis. Don't worry about the top one. I have to come to that in a while, right? For the moment, je jouais. I used to play tennis. Je jouais au tennis. Or it is used to describe what you were doing. And the thing about this is, right, you could say, je jouais au foot hier. I was playing football yesterday. Now, let me show you something which really freaks students out, and I don't blame them, right? Because if you write these two, right? Now just watch this, but then I'll explain it to you, okay? So don't worry. So I have two sentences here. I could say j'ai joué au foot hier. That means I played tennis or I played football yesterday. Or j'ai joué au foot hier. I was playing tennis yesterday. Or football yesterday. There is no difference. I mean, you could use both of those and they're both right, okay? So I have a foolproof way of when you use the imperfect, okay? When you have to use imperfect or when you have to use the passé composé, right? The ordinary past tense, right? If the action is sudden, okay? If the action is sudden, so for example, something like Mary fell, right? It wasn't expected that Mary was going to fall, so Mary fell. I can't say this, right? Now watch this, right? I can't say Mary tombe, right? Because I'll explain why. Right, this is incorrect. I'm going to put an X just so that you understand. I cannot say Mary tombe because that was Mary was falling. And that makes absolutely no sense unless Mary was in the habit of falling all the time. Like she was always falling, okay? But that's so irregular or so rare that you'd find that, okay? What you'd need to do for a quick action, that has to go into the passé composé, right? And remember that tombe is one of the 16 verbs that go with our king être. So it has to be Marie est tombée. And I have to put an extra E on my past participle because être is in the sentence. And you'll hear me babbling on about him the whole time because when he's in a sentence, there has to be agreement. Okay, that's really, really important. So we come back to it. So if I was saying I was doing something or I used to do something, that's your imperfect tense, right? If you're a Leaving Cert student and you're writing either a diary or a narrative, okay, the imperfect is vital for you to know, okay? Especially if it's a narrative because, and actually if it's a diary as well, because if you're setting the scene, if you're telling us something and explaining something that happened in the past tense, right? And it's like a story or like you're telling us about an event that happened, you're going to use it there, okay? It's also going to be used to talk about your feelings. So, for example, if I'm writing a diary entry, okay, and I want to say, I was delighted to receive that phone call, right? So I would have to say, j'étais. Do you see the way I'm going to put that? J'étais ravi de recevoir ce coup de fil. J'étais ravi de recevoir ce coup de fil. I was delighted to receive that phone call. All right? That's just something you're expressing your emotion. You're saying you were delighted. You're going to straight away use your imperfect tense, okay? Now, if you're talking about the weather in the past tense, the idea is that it's going to use the imperfect as well. So, for example, hier il faisait beau. The weather was lovely yesterday. The idea being that it was nice for the whole day. Of course, they haven't probably been to Ireland where we could get the 4 seasons in the one day, but that's a different kettle of fish, okay? So, il faisait beau hier. The weather was lovely yesterday. Okay, so that's important. Now, a very important one, and I'm going to come now to why I wrote this at the top, okay? If you want to talk about interrupted action, right? So I've written this, right? An interrupted action. It's when you were in the process of doing something when something else happened. So as I was speaking to Mary, okay, Mary for some reason is le nom du jour, the name of the day. As I was speaking to Mary, Louise called me. Louise called me, right? So, pendant que je parlais à Marie, Louise m'appelait. M'appelait is your passé composé, right? But as I was speaking to Mary, the idea being that there's a length of time that you were speaking to her. So, as I was doing something, that pendant que is a very good indicator that you're going to be using the imperfect tense, okay? Really good. So your 3 things really is to talk about the imperfect. It's for something that you used to do or you were doing. It's for describing a scene, emotion, and weather, okay? All in the past. And if it's an interrupted action, so as I was doing something, something else happened. So that is basically all you need for the imperfect tense, right? So what I'm going to look at now really, really quickly, because I'm not going to keep you here too long, okay, is let's say I wanted to say last summer, we used to swim every day, right? So I'm going to just bring you through this one, okay? So I'm going to take the verb, okay? Nager, okay? Or you could say faire de la natation. So I'm actually going to do faire. And the reason I'm going to do faire is because you might think it's an irregular verb, right? Because it's irregular in a lot of tenses, but it's not in the imperfect, right? So I'm going to bring you through this particular example, right? So last summer we used to go swimming, right? And we're going to use faire de la natation is our way of saying to go swimming, right? So what you need to do is you get the new form of the verb, okay? So nous faisons. Am I right? In the present tense, it's nous faisons, right? So there you have it, nous faisons. And I'm going to say that we used to. So I knock off my ONS. See that? I've knocked off my ONS, so it gives us FAIS. And then I have to add my ending for the new form, and it's IONS. So nous faisions de la natation, right, tous les jours. So nous faisions, and that means we used to do natation. I'll write it all out. La natation tous les jours. So l'été dernier, nous faisions de la natation tous les jours. All right. So last summer we used to go swimming every day. Nous faisions de la natation tous les jours. Be careful of how you spell the two for tous les jours. I'm just going to show you that here very, very quickly, and then I'm going to leave you. Tous les jours, it's TOUS because jour is a masculine word, and tous is actually an adjective, and adjectives have to agree with the number and gender of the noun they are describing. And the noun you are describing is a masculine noun, but there is an S on it, which means it's masculine plural. And this is the masculine plural form of the TOUT, the all or every, the adjective all or every. Okay. that is really everything you need to know for the imperfect tense, okay? So, c'est utilisé pour exprimer le sentiment, les émotions, le ton, et tout ça dans le passé. C'est pour commencer une histoire. It's also used to set a scene in a story. Again, narrative, leaving cert. C'était au mois de Novembre. It was in the month of December or November, whatever it is you want to say. It's used for interrupted action. So, pendant que, while I was doing such and such a thing. Where did I put that one? I think I put it here. I did as well. I'll just show it to you really quickly one last time before I pop off. So pendant que is your interrupted action. So while I was doing something, something else happened. And then I used to do, all right? And be very careful. You cannot say Marie tombait, because you can't say she was falling. It's an immediate kind of a quick action. So you'd have to use the passé composé there. Et voilà, c'est tout pour ce soir. Si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à me les envoyer. If you have any questions, please send them on. Suggestions or anything like that. We're going to do a written piece for the Leaving Cert students tomorrow. Junior cycle students, relax. It won't be really to your benefit to listen tomorrow evening. It'll be quite complex. As always, please go to Frenchnotes.ie and look at our things there. And merci, Zara. I hope that clears it up for you. Go to our YouTube channel, French Notes French. We're on Twitter. We're on Snapchat. We're on Instagram. We're on the whole load, Instagram. Please follow us across our different social media. And most importantly, please let me know if this is helping you. Please send me suggestions of what you'd like me to do. And finally, but really importantly, please tell your friends about what we do. We will be here every evening, Monday to Friday, 8 p.m, going over various things. Okay? So, merci beaucoup et je vous souhaite tous bonne soirée. Alors, voilà. Et